There seems to be a lot of debate online about when the best time of the month truly is to pay off your credit card bill, and whether or not you should do that before your statement arrives, after your statement arrives, whether you should pay it off in full or leave a small balance on that card, and it can all just get a little bit confusing. So today, instead of just sharing another opinion with you, we're going to look at the actual facts of what makes up your credit score in order to determine exactly when you should pay off your credit card statement every single month to send your credit score to the moon. All right, let's jump right into it. What is going on, everyone? I hope you are all having a fantastic day. So in today's video, we are not only going to clarify exactly what makes up your credit score, but we are actually going to look at two of my personal credit card statements from two very different credit card products to prove that this strategy actually works. Okay, so the first debate that we hear all the time is whether you should pay off your card in full or leave a small balance on that card to show the credit card company that you're using that card. And this one is really simple. The answer is you should pay off your credit card in full without a doubt. Whether you do it on the first day of the month, the last day of the month, I really don't care, but if you take nothing else from this video, please know that you absolutely should be paying off your credit cards in full, and I have no idea where that horrible myth started that you should carry a small balance on your credit card, but I can tell you without a doubt that is absolutely not true, and really all that is going to do is accrue interest on your card and fees and take money out of your pocket, and that is the last thing that we want. So be sure that you are paying off all of your credit cards in full on time without fail. Okay, so now that we are all on the same page with that one, let's open up a credit card statement that some of you might be familiar with, and that is actually a personal credit card statement of my own for the Discover It credit card. So obviously, every credit card statement is going to look a little bit different, and we're going to look at a different example later on in the video for an American Express card, but there's a few important things that I want to point out here that should be pretty similar across every single credit card statement, regardless of the company. First of all, when you get your credit card statement, you obviously want to look at the new balance because that is the amount of money that you have to pay off, and in this case, the balance is 0, and that's actually a hint as to when I personally pay off my credit card balances, but I'll clarify that one in a second. But the other really important point of information that you absolutely do not want to forget about is the payment due date. So this is an older statement, so in this case, the payment due date is January 20th, and typically your payment due date is going to be sometime in the month after your credit card statement. So if you are getting a credit card statement with charges from the month of November, for example, then you might not have to actually pay that off until sometime in December. But again, that varies based on your credit card company and what products you're using, so be sure to look at your statement to know exactly when your payment is due. The other piece of information that you will often see is the minimum payment, and most of the time the minimum payment number will actually be significantly lower than the balance due, and that's because the credit card company only actually requires you to make a minimum payment on that balance, and it does not require you to pay it off in full, because remember, they really want you to carry a balance on this card and accrue interest and fees, and therefore you have to pay them more money. But again, that is absolutely not what we want you to do, so be sure to pay off that card in full, and basically you can completely ignore that minimum payment because it's just not important and it doesn't mean anything because you want to be paying off that card in full. So really you just want to focus on the new balance number and of course the date that payment is due. Typically on a statement you'll also have your previous balance, so in this case it's actually a negative number, and that just means that I had a statement credit going into this billing cycle. But as you can see, in this month I spent $4,456, yet I only paid $4,437, and again that's just because I went into this month with an $18 statement credit. If that was really confusing, don't worry about it too much, but the important thing here is that my balance is $0, but how is that possible if I spent over $4,000 in this month? Well, that is actually the answer to the big question of today's video, and that is because personally, I am a firm believer that you want to pay off your credit card balance before your statement even arrives. Now, the important takeaway from this video is that at a bare minimum, you need to pay off your credit card balance before the payment due date so that you don't accrue interest and fees and all of that crap. But one of the largest factors that makes up your credit score, other than your on-time payment history, is actually what's called your credit utilization. And basically, this is just a percentage of what you spend based on the total credit that is available to you. So as you can see on this particular Discover It credit card, I have a $5,000 limit, and I spent almost $5,000 in this month, meaning had I actually let that appear on my statement credit, then my utilization would have been almost 100%, which is really, really bad for my credit score. Now, typically online you'll see that you want to keep your utilization below 30%, but I would actually argue that you want to keep it below 10%, and personally I think you should really try to keep it as close to 0% as you possibly can. Now, I am sure that there will be some of you that disagree with that, but in my mind it's very simple. The lower your credit utilization, the higher your credit score. So in my case, my credit utilization is 0, and I can say firsthand that this strategy has boosted my personal credit score over 200 points, and it now sits at a high 700 with only a few credit cards and no other kind of debt. I do want to clarify here that in terms of a specific day of the month that you want to pay off your credit card, that actually varies depending on your statement and when it is processed each month, and depending on your credit card, you might actually be able to change this. For example, I know with my American Express card that we're going to look at next, I'm able to select which day of the month my payments are due, but again, I always pay off that card before the statement even arrives, so it doesn't really matter. Now, speaking of my American Express card, that actually brings up a really interesting question that I frequently get, and that is, how does the whole credit utilization thing work with a card that doesn't have a hard credit limit like the American Express Gold card? And therefore, how do they know when to pay off the card? Well, the short answer is that I actually don't know how credit utilization works, and I'm not entirely sure anyone does in terms of a no limit or charge card. I have seen online some people talking about how a no limit card can actually be really bad for your overall credit score because they aren't able to determine your credit utilization, but I would argue that this only reiterates the importance of paying off your card balance before your statement is processed. And really that helps keep your credit score at 0% regardless of whether you have a really high credit limit or you have no credit limit. So again, right now you're looking at an American Express credit card statement of mine, and you can see that in this month I spent $5,305 and I've made payments of $5,305. So my total balance due is again $0, and that's because I made all of those payments before the credit card statement arrived. Now, there have been cases where a charge may have been posted at the last minute and therefore it shows up on my credit card statements, and I can say firsthand that I have seen this directly impact my credit score in a negative way because it raises my utilization and therefore decreases my credit score. So regardless of whether you have a standard credit card with a hard credit limit or you have one of these charge cards like an American Express card, it is my personal belief that regardless, you want to be paying off that card in full before the statement is processed. And at a bare minimum, you at least want to set up autopay on all of your credit cards just to make sure that if you do forget to make that payment for whatever reason, that you aren't actually going all the way past the payment due date, because trust me, that is going to be really bad for your credit score. So I would love to know what you think of this debate down in the comment section below, and I know that my personal strategy might seem a little bit unconventional, but again, I can say firsthand that I have seen this directly increase my credit score significantly, and when those small charges do appear on my credit card statement and therefore increase my utilization, I have seen it decrease my personal credit score. So in my opinion, you definitely want to pay off all of your credit card charges before your statement arrives so that your credit utilization remains as low as possible. As always, if you did get value out of this content and you want to help support me, the easiest way to do that is actually by checking out some of my favorite financial tools down in the description below, including one offer from the Point Cashback Debit Card that will currently give you $100 when you open your account and make your first purchase. So definitely check that out using the link down below. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. And of course, thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it so much. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.